What's going on, YouTube? Mazda is a brand that has undergone an extensive transformation over the last decade. In addition to great driving dynamics, they have moved up market and expanded the lineup to have more SUV options than ever. So now that begs the question, should you pick the best-selling Mazda, the CX-5, or should you save a little money and go for the smaller, newer CX-30? Well, let's compare them to find out. So first off, to get things established, let's quickly talk pricing for these two, since that will certainly be relevant in this discussion. Starting with the CX-30, we are using a new trim for 2024 called Carbon Turbo. It's a powerful and nicely equipped model for an as-tested price of $34,640. Moving to the Mazda CX-5, we selected a very similar trim in its lineup called Turbo Premium. But its extra size will mean extra expense as expected. The as-tested price on that will be $39,480. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing info for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. Check the link in the description for more info. Now, as far as this comparison, it will be conducted objectively. We have done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, but at the end of the comparison, we will sum up with our thoughts and revisit the price difference for a value assessment. With that being said, let's get into this comparison. We'll start off on the outside, and of course, these two models are siblings, so they have similarities. While the CX-30 is the newer product in terms of when it debuted, the CX-5 has been updated to have the latest Mazda grille, and both of them are finished in smoked chrome. Both of them also have adaptive full LED headlights, but with different DRL designs and a fading separated turn signal on the CX-30. But as we go around to the sides, this is where you'll start to see a lot more substantial differences. For those of you who don't know, and despite what the digits of the name indicate, the CX-5 is a compact crossover, while the CX-30 is a sub-compact crossover, aka smaller. So the first big difference is the obvious 6-inch difference in length, which we will discuss at length when we get into the interior. But the other big difference is that the CX-30 uses a lot of cladding versus the body color lower surrounds on the CX-5. The CX-5 will also have 1-inch larger alloy wheels, although both of them are finished in gloss black. Heading out back, we have visual differences, but the features are the same, with LED taillights, exposed wipers, and dual chrome exhaust tips. If you're interested in towing small objects, the CX-5 is rated to handle 2,000 pounds, while the 30 is not rated to tow. Now, checking out some of the individual odd and end features, both of their mirrors have heating and blind spot monitoring, and the CX-5 adds power folding as well. Both models are going to include all the major active safety features, and, of course, their warranties are the same as well. But things are going to get even more interesting on the inside, so let's get into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
So approaching the Mazdas, you will find smart entry systems as expected. One difference to note though is that the CX-5 doesn't have a sensor behind the door handle, so you have to press the button to unlock. Now once you open up the doors, you'll find handsome interiors that honestly don't look all that similar. On the CX-30, we have a special terracotta leatherette and suede combination seat, while our CX-5 has a more conventional black leather. The seats themselves are 10-way power adjusting, heated, and have memory, but only the CX-5 can have ventilated seats. Now once we actually climb inside the cabins, we can check out the major point category of material quality. Mazda worked hard to make both interiors feel more luxurious than mainstream, and both of them feel equal to each other. We have generous use of padded leatherette on the door trims and upper dashboards, along with extremely solid feeling plastics and amazing fit and finish. Once you fire the two crossovers up, you'll find the same partially digital gauge cluster on both Mazdas, as well as a head-up display on the CX-5. They both have heated, leather-wrapped steering wheels, along with rain-sensing wipers. But moving on to another major point, let's talk interior storage. First of all, here at Car Confections, we like to do a test called the donut test to check center console volume. Even though it doesn't look like it, the CX-5's narrower but deeper console can store 11 donuts versus 10 in the 30. And then the other storage cubbies are pretty much identical. Taking a look at the shifters, both are identical traditional ones, and neither of them will have the 360-degree camera systems that are offered only on the top trim levels. Now it's time to sample and discuss the audio systems. The 5 comes with a branded Bose sound system instead of an unbranded one in the 30. One benefit of the CX-30 though is that the positioning of the speakers frees up a lot of storage space in the door trims. Alright, so now let's talk about the displays. With Mazda's latest round of updates, both displays are 10.25 inches and now have some touch abilities when using wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The CX-5 screen is mounted much closer to the occupants, but they both have the traditional rotary controls down by the shifter as well. As we wrap up the front of the cabins, the CX-5 has an auto-dimming rear-view mirror, and both of them have traditional side sunroofs. So as we go to the rear areas, let's see how they stack up. The CX-5 isn't known for being particularly spacious in its class, but even still, it is going to be above the subcompact CX-30 by a good margin for legroom. We have an advantage of about 3 inches for legroom, but a smaller 0.7 inch difference for headroom, which isn't greater than the 5% difference needed to score a point. As far as the features back here, both models have rear vents, but only the 5 adds 2 USB ports and heated rear seats. Moving out back, the CX-5 includes a power liftgate, and it'll also include a good deal more space. By that, I mean 27% more maximum capacity when you have the seats folded flat, and 42% more space behind the rear seats. This is probably the number one thing to consider when picking between these two models. Folding the seats is also more convenient in the CX-5 with dedicated handles and 40-20-40 splitting. Alright, we're done with the interiors now, so let's wrap things up with performance out on the streets. Even though these two are distinctly different products, when we look under the hoods, we are going to find the same powertrains. Both begin with 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engines, and then can upgrade to this 2.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, making 250 horsepower, or 256 in the CX-5, and 320 pound-feet of torque in both. These models are downright quick. And actually, the smaller CX-30 is the one that can get to 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds, according to Motor Trend testing.
Nice.
Very nice.
You gotta love the Mazda turbos.
Oh yeah, it's always just fun to be behind the wheel of one of these turbocharged Mazdas because they are quick, guys. I mean, this is not that big of a vehicle, far from it. But yet you put 250 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque on this guy, I mean, you're going to see some serious performance, that's for sure.
Very nice.
Oh yeah. Now, of course, we have driven the CX-5 with the turbo engine numerous times, but every time you're behind the wheel, it really impresses you because in this segment, it's really not common to have a powerful upgraded engine anymore. If there's a optional engine, it's usually going to be a hybrid system with just a little bit more power, but this has a lot more power. So, as far as the transmissions, we have traditional 6-speed automatics and standard all-wheel drive systems. While not the fastest transmissions, the extremely torque-rich engines compensate for having less gears. Now, as far as other elements of the powertrain, we do have a 6-speed automatic transmission on board. You've heard us talk about this numerous times because Mazda really uses this transmission pretty much across their whole lineup except for that brand new CX-90.
Yeah.
And it's a fine transmission. Yes, it does have less gears than 8 or 10-speed automatics in some of the competition, but it is nice and smooth. It's also plenty responsive. Now, as far as the other element of the powertrain, that's a 6-speed automatic transmission. These engines sound powerful, because they are, but after you get up to highway speed, you're probably wanting to know which one is quieter. Here at Car Confections, we collect decibel sound level readings for all the models we test. And at 55 miles per hour, the CX-5 registers a little over 1 decibel less noise than the CX-30. That is an amount that the average adult can hear a difference.
But now it's time. You guys are probably waiting for it. Our sound level reading. We'll put it on fan speed 1 and get it going 55 miles per hour. Official Car Confections sound level reading is sitting at 55.8 decibels for this 2024 Mazda CX-5. Official Car Confections sound level reading is coming in at 57.1 decibels.
Now let's talk about one of my favorite elements, driving dynamics. It's hard to say enough good things about these two, because they handle like little sporty hatchbacks compared to the normal class offerings. Both of their steering racks are nicely weighted and very fast responding. And another way that it kind of reminds you of a German vehicle is that it's very athletic. So as I kind of go around a corner there, it's a good demonstration of just the dynamic capability of the CX-5. It's a lot sportier than a lot in the segment. The biggest thing is that you have excellent steering. That is what you will for sure notice when you get behind the wheel of this. Really fast, responsive steering. It's actually quite heavy and it has just this nice, pleasant heft to it. The trade-off is that these two Mazdas ride a bit firmer than the other rivals. But compared to each other, the CX-5 has the better ride quality.
We finally opened up and we're out of the traffic, so let's go ahead and just talk about your ride quality in this CX-5. This, of course, is a family vehicle, even though this is like your sporty alternative family vehicle. And I will say the ride quality is very good. We've had this vehicle and sampled it out for an entire week, and we were very impressed. We actually took it on a road trip. It does a great job of just soaking up the bumps. I will say it's a little bit firmer than some of the competition. Something like a Honda CR-V will be a little bit more softly sprung than the CX-5, but I really don't think any person is going to find this problematic in any capacity. It's not like a rough riding vehicle at all.
Now for fuel economy, the smaller model gets slightly better MPGs, but not by enough to matter. By the way, for max power, both models request premium fuel, but will accept regular fuel for a small power downgrade. Before we wrap up, let's circle back to value. In this comparison, choosing the CX-30 would save you a substantial $4,840. So with our adjusted scale, that would add 5 points to the total. But as always, I'll remind you that if money matters more or less to you, then feel free to add your own adjustment to this part. So there you have it. The CX-5 is definitely the winner before you factor in pricing. But once you do, the two actually become pretty close to each other. But let's go ahead and recap a little bit and figure out who should be your winner. So the CX-30 should be your winner if you are obviously price conscious. You're going to save a good amount of money by going for that model. Also, you have the smaller, nimbler kind of body style, which is going to be good for in the city. And you actually do have the faster 0 to 60 time because it is smaller.
Now, the CX-5 should be your winner if you value space. The CX-30 is a pretty tight vehicle, and the CX-5 is definitely going to give you a lot more cargo space, rear legroom, those types of things. Additionally, it does have higher end interior finishes than the CX-30, and it's also not going to have that rugged cladding on the outside. I know a lot of you guys comment that you don't like that, so if you don't like that, the CX-30 is probably not going to be a good choice for you. Now, we do want to remind you, if you're looking to buy a CX-30 or a CX-5 or any new vehicle, to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. A link to that is provided in our video description. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off this comparison between the CX-5 and CX-30. This was a tough fought race throughout. And hopefully we helped clear up which one you should pick. There's a lot of Mazda crossovers. Yep. We were thinking the same thing, should you buy this? Should you buy that? Hopefully we're able to help you with that. And if we were, we really would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help us to make more comparison videos like this, and you're joining in on this Car Confections family. We do a lot of car reviews that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on, and we also have a lot of fun. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.